Welcome back to Sports by GSMC Podcast Network. I'm your host, Jeremy Lapidus. Today is Tuesday, October 22nd. If you are just tuning in, we just did a full NBA season preview. Go ahead and check that out. We went over contenders, we picked favorites, we picked our NBA Finals prediction as well, and of course we went over some dark horse teams that could make a bit of a run. In this segment, we start off our Ranking Tuesday. Every Tuesday we do our NFL Power Rankings and our college football top 25. We start off, as always, in this segment with the first half of the Week 8 NFL Power Rankings, numbers 32 to 17. But before we do that, remember, if you would like to be an even bigger part of the show than you already are, all you need to do is go to gsmcpodcast.net. Or if you are on YouTube, you can use that super chat feature. If you do either of those two things, a message should pop up on the bottom of the screen for you, me, and everybody else around the world to see. If you do have a burning question about sports, anything at all that you would like to ask, go ahead and throw that in the comments. Throw it in the chat. I will get to it as soon as I possibly can. I appreciate everybody so much for sticking around, talking some sports with me here on a beautiful Tuesday, October 22nd. But like I was saying, getting into our first half of the NFL Power Rankings for Week 8, we have here for you, starting off right at the bat at number 32, the Carolina Panthers, right back at the bottom of the league. They haven't been here for quite some time, but they've made their way back down, losing to the Marcus Mariota-led Washington Commanders by a score of 40-7. Does not inspire a lot of confidence. They were moving up a little bit in a couple of weeks prior, due to Andy Dalton giving that spark to the offense. That spark has all but worn off, and we're seeing the ugly interior, right? That defense, atrocious. The offense can't get much going unless they're playing a team like the Raiders, right? Or the Bengals. Two really bad defenses over there. The Panthers get their rightful spot back at the bottom with number 32 in this week's Power Rankings. At number 31, we have the New England Patriots coming off of a brutal loss over there in Old England, in London. The New England Patriots have hope. Drake May looks really good, but they cannot stop the run. They can't. The Jaguars at one point ran the ball 17 straight times, and it did not matter. The Patriots could not stop them. Tank Bigsby goes off 26 carries for 4.5 yards per carry, almost 150 yards for him, and a touchdown as well. They just got absolutely ran over in London by the Jaguars, a team that doesn't have an elite offensive line, a team that was really struggling, a team that if the Patriots had won, I think would have fired their head coach. Now Doug Peterson gets to live another week. Patriots are down 4 spots to number 31. Excuse me. At number 30, it's the Cleveland Browns. They lose Deshaun Watson for the year. Obviously, you never want to see anybody get hurt, but the silver lining is Deshaun Watson was playing awful, and I don't think the quarterback situation can get much worse for Cleveland if we're talking on a strictly quarterback kind of motive here, right? We take a look at this team. They get Nick Chubb back. That is an awesome story, but this is a bad team. The defense continues to not step up the way that they were doing last season, and it's hard to expect them to do that year in and year out. You need some help from the offense, but still, getting a guy like Jameson, maybe DTR, I think Jameis would be the right answer. We've seen DTR play a couple of games. He hasn't looked too good. Jameis threw a touchdown, at least in garbage time, so I think he'll be the starter over there, and you need to have a serious conversation about what you do with Deshaun Watson in the future. He's got 2 years left on his contract, both with $72 million cap hit. That's almost $145 million in cap hit, almost $150. It's ridiculous how much money is owed to Deshaun Watson. The Cleveland Browns have a tough decision on their hands. We'll see what happens the rest of the season. At 29, it's the Jacksonville Jaguars. We just finished talking about them. They did a great job running the ball against the New England Patriots. They did what they needed to do. They got out of London with a win. Trevor Lawrence played some good football. His receivers did not drop the ball. They played clean football. They played solid football. They got some of their defenders back, and I think that was one of the big things. Although Drake May was still able to push the ball downfield against them, they got some of their cover corners back, and I think it made a big difference. Obviously, that offensive line played great. I want to see it against a better team before I really start to think this team is any good. they have a schedule that's tough the next couple of weeks, but it's also doable to get to a respectable record if they play like they did last week down the stretch of the season. At 28, it's the Las Vegas Raiders. They lose Aiden O'Connell. I don't think putting Gardner Minshew in there is really going to make that big of a difference. The biggest question with this team is the defense. Obviously, Antonio Pierce as the head coach is on the hot seat already. Max Crosby was the one that advocated for him. It sounds like Max Crosby wants out. He said, I'm not here to rebuild, I'm here to win. Not sure if that matches up with the Raiders' timeline, the way that they're going right now, but there is some silver lining. Brock Bowers continues to play really good football. We have a guy in Gardner Minshew that can and has shown in the ability even in the past, even just last season, to turn the switch and just be a solid quarterback. He hasn't done that this year. I don't know if that's the Raiders scheme or not, but still, the Raiders have a lot of holes. They're here at 28. At 27, it's the Titans. They put in Mason Rudolph. It did not help against a Bills defense, a Bills team that felt reinvigorated after trading for Amari Cooper. This is a Titans team that has a lot of issues. Again, a lot of what I said about the Raiders can be said about the Titans, that except for the fact that defense, I still think is really good. I love the additions that they've made. The offense is really struggling. They're not able to get it to their weapons like a Calvin Ridley. They're not able to get it to DeAndre Hopkins. Their running backs, their running back tandem there, Tony Pollard and Tyjae Spears, are not good enough. The offensive line is doing better, but it's still not great. The offense has a lot of holes. The defense, I think, is fine. They gave up a lot of points in this game, but it's the Bills. It's acceptable. I think the Titans have a recipe to potentially win some more games, but I'm not super high on them. They're here at 27. At 26, it's the Giants, and my God, did they look awful. We talked about losing Andrew Thomas, their star offensive tackle, last week when he went down with the Liz Frank injury. You see the result of not having him back there. 8 sacks. 8 sacks. That's awful. That is ridiculous. You cannot have that happen. Against an Eagles front, that's good, but they're not 8 sacks in a game good. This isn't a world-beating front four. You need to be able to defend. You need to be able to stop a pass rush, and they can't do that. The Giants are cooked without Andrew Thomas, and, I mean, it doesn't look like it's getting any better anytime soon. The Giants are here at 26. At 25, it's the New Orleans Saints. The Saints looked equally as bad as the Giants did against the Broncos, the homecoming for Sean Payton on Thursday night. Spencer Rattler, coming off of a solid performance 2 weeks ago in his first ever start, got shut down by a good Broncos defense. This is a Saints team that is weaponless now due to injuries. Everyone is down. The run game can't get anything going, and that does not inspire confidence for the future of this team. This is a lost season. Sell the team, get rid of every piece, trade Alvin Kamara for something you can get, trade away some of those defenders. You need to start tanking. I think the Saints will be sellers at the deadline for the first time in a very, very long time. At 24, it's the Jets. And my God, are the Jets just a dumpster fire. They make 2 straight desperation moves, and it still doesn't matter. Aaron Rodgers not able to get on the same page with his receivers. He keeps throwing bad interceptions. The one thing about Aaron Rodgers that has made him so elite for so long, not only is his ability to fit it into tight windows, make these accurate throws, but it's the fact that he never turned the ball over. The best touchdown to interception ratio in the history of the National Football League, and now he's throwing at least 2 interceptions a game. That is not the Aaron Rodgers we know. He needs to calm down. I don't know what it is. He is either washed at this point, which I'm not fully ready to buy into, because you see some of the throws he's able to make, and it's hitting these receivers in the hands. There's a lot of issues with this team. That defense needs to shape up, play like they were at the beginning of the season. Otherwise, they're not going to be able to beat anyone. Giving up 37 points to the Russell Wilson-led Steelers is an embarrassment, and don't let anybody tell you otherwise. At 23, it's the Dolphins. I'm giving them a small bump this week because Tua's coming back. And maybe that's a little bit preemptive of me, but with Tua, maybe the weapons can do something finally. Maybe the weapons can finally get something done. I'm not a big believer in this Dolphins team the way it stands. The defense is absolutely broken right now. They played solid football against a Colts team that wants to lose the game a lot of the time. But if Tim Boyle is your backup plan at any point, it's not good. I don't know why Skylar Thompson wasn't the backup. I don't know why they continue to roster Tim Boyle. He is an awful, player. He should not be on an NFL sideline. He should not be paid by an NFL team. I don't know why teams keep giving him a chance. He's not good. He was never good. Get him off of the football rosters. Every single one. There should be an anti-Tim Boyle rule. At 22, it's the Dallas Cowboys. They come off of a bye week in a spot that makes them look slightly better. A lot of teams looked bad, but they are not in a good spot. CeeDee Lamb and Dak Prescott need to get on the same page. They need to get a running game going, and there was salt rubbed in the wound on Monday Night Football. They said, Derrick Henry could have been a Cowboy, in more words, basically. And that's a brutal look for the Cowboys because that would solve a lot of their issues right there. Cowboys here at number 22, it wouldn't solve all of them because that defense is still awful. They have a lot of work to do. They're not out of it in an NFC that's kind of muddled near the middle. At 21, it's those Indianapolis Colts. We saw Anthony Richardson get some action back in the game. He looked okay. I'm high on him. I'm trying to be a forgiving guy with him, but he's running his leash thin. He needs to stop fumbling the ball. He needs to be smarter with the ball. He needs to stop being so careless with his possessions. This is a Colts team that can win some games, but they need him to step up because Anthony Richardson they're going to live and die by him, and they need to live by him more than he's willing to let them. At 20, it's the Los Angeles Chargers, a brutal loss for them. They couldn't get the ball in the end zone last week. We talked all about it in segment 1. Justin Herbert played a great football game. He doesn't deserve all of this losing. I think the Chargers are going to be really good in the next couple of years, but it's not happening this year. At 19, it's those Cardinals. They barely scraped by with a victory against the Los Angeles Chargers. James Conner does a great job. I love James Conner's been playing awesome football. He is the heart and soul of that team right now. I don't know why they're not able to get Marvin Harrison involved, but I was very impressed by that defense and their defensive effort against a good rushing team, a team that in the Cardinals that has given up a lot of rushing yards all season long. The Cardinals are here at 19. At 18, we have those Cincinnati Bengals. They continue to climb their way back up the ranks. Another win against another bad team, but they're on a bit of a win streak. And if they get some momentum going and the defense continues to play solid like they have been, especially with the interior defensive line, Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase getting more comfortable, getting more reps together again. It's been a while since they played together. This team is only going to get better. The Bengals are here at 18. And last but not least for this segment, the Broncos up to number 17. They are up 3 spots in this week's power rankings. They continue to just impress me in a different way every single game. It's been the defense for a while. In this game, they finally got the running game going. They hadn't been able to get it going all season long, and you see how much of a difference maker it is when you have any semblance of a running game. Bo Nix still has a lot of work to do, and I'm still not a Bo Nix fan, but if they can get the running game going the way they were able to against the Saints, and I know it's the Saints, but if they're able to get it going the way they were able to against the Saints, this is a team that can make some noise in the playoffs, potentially. The Denver Broncos at 17. We're going to take a quick break here. When we come back, we finish up our Week 8 NFL Power Rankings, 16-1, so make sure you stick around for that here on Sports by GSMC Podcast Network.